What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Campbell Kitchen. Today we're going to make an awesome spicy chicken sandwich. Start off by buying some bone-in chicken thighs. You want the bone in and you also want the skin on. The skin's going to add flavor, and the bone, well, it's just fun to remove. You actually can buy them boneless, but I don't mind removing them, and you can also use the bones for stock, things like that, so I like to buy them with the bone in. I like to make cuts on both sides and then just kind of scrape the bone out, as you can see there. It's really easy, it just takes a few seconds. Now I like to butterfly the meat a little bit just so it's pretty thin and it cooks quickly. So I'm just going to find the thick parts of the thigh, use my knife, and I'm just going to butterfly it. Now it's time for the awesome marinade. So I have some delicious Louisiana hot sauce, some Cristal, do about 4 ounces of Cristal. I have some pickle juice here. That adds really good flavor. Do about half a cup of pickle juice as well. I grate 2 cloves of garlic. That's going to add really nice garlicky flavor, and it's just going to make the chicken taste delicious. Add a little bit of regular salt, kosher salt or sea salt, about a teaspoon. I also like a lot of pepper. I'm adding a lot of black pepper and a lot of white pepper. Add as much or as little as you'd like, but I think the pepper helps a ton. So I do about, a quarter teaspoon of each. I'm adding chili powder. Do about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of chili powder. Add a little bit of honey. That kind of sweetens it up and balances the flavors out. Do about a tablespoon of honey. A few slices of lemon. Then I have this Korean chili paste. I'm adding about a teaspoon of that. I mix all this up really well, and this is my brine. So this is the way that I'm brining this chicken, and it needs to sit for about an hour. Now let's make our dredge. This is the seasoning dredge. So I do a cup of flour, a couple tablespoons of paprika, a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of onion powder. I'm doing about tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of seasoning salt. You can use any seasoning salt. This stuff's pretty salty, but it really adds good flavor. I'm adding about a teaspoon of dried oregano. I'm adding about a teaspoon of celery salt. I'll add my white pepper and black pepper, as much or as little as you'd like. I'm doing about a quarter teaspoon of each. I'm adding a little bit of cayenne, about a quarter teaspoon, and about half a teaspoon of salt. Mix it all up really well, and now this is your seasoning flour. This is going to have all of that flavor. So good. Okay, the next step is to make the wet dredge. So I crack 1 egg, I do half a cup of flour, and I use club soda to mix it all together. So I'm mixing the flour and the egg, and then I'm going to thin it out with my club soda. And this is a really awesome way to dredge chicken. This is your wet dredge, and it turns out really well. So you want it thick, but not too thick. So what I did was, with that 1 egg and half a cup of flour, I did about 5 ounces of club soda. It should be about that consistency. Runny, but still a little thick. And then our first dredge is just going to be plain old flour. So let's get to it. So now our chicken's been marinating for an hour. I'm going to first add it into the plain old flour. That's your first dredge, just the plain flour. And what that does is allows the wet dredge to stick to the chicken. So coat it thoroughly, make sure that it's completely covered in just the regular flour. Then you're going to just pat it off with your hands, just give it a little pat. If there's any parts you missed, you can pick up a little flour, pack it in there. So now that it's covered in flour, you're going to add it to your wet dredge. Now the wet dredge, that's the perfect consistency, but you also want to make sure that it's not just gooped on there. You kind of want to scrape off the excess. You want it to be 100% covered, but you do want to scrape off the excess. So something like that looks perfect. And now we have our seasoning dredge, our final dredge. And it's important to just completely pack it in and just get it completely covered on your chicken. Yeah, and so that's exactly what you're looking for. That is a beautiful dredge. Dust off the excess, and that's what it's going to look like. Let's heat up some oil. I'm using peanut oil, and I'm using a large skillet, and I'm going to heat it up to about 325. Just turn that on medium, and let's make our other ingredients. So we're going to make a delicious sauce. This sauce is good on everything, especially fried chicken sandwich. So I'm using QP mayonnaise. I like QP. It has great flavor. It also has a little MSG, so that's why I like it. We're adding a little bit of Dijon mustard. This Dijon has a little kick, so spicy Dijon mustard. We're going to add some Cristal hot sauce. We're going to add a little bit of buttermilk, not too much because you don't want it too thin. We're going to add a little bit of garlic powder. We'll add a little bit of that onion powder there. You know you want some lemon in it. Give it a good little mixy mix. And then the ingredient that makes it very spicy is the chipotle. Now you can add as much or as little as you want. This stuff, for me, is super hot. So I'm just kind of opening the can, squishing it, and adding some like the juice and a little bit of the pulverized chipotles. But you can add, you can add a lot. You can blend it, puree it, add a lot. But for me, that's like a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons. I mix it up, and that has great flavor for me. Put it in the fridge to thicken up. Now the sandwich definitely needs pickles. Crucial. Slice up some dill pickles. Some people use sweet pickles or bread and butter pickles. I just like sour dill pickles. It also needs a little bit of lettuce. That's going to give some crunch and a little bit of fresh flavor. So I just bought some iceberg lettuce. I think that tastes the best. Now we're going to fry up our chicken. So that oil is at 325. Add your chicken. Make sure that the temperature of the pan stays at least 300. You don't want it to drop too much. So I always use this thermometer. And in fact, it actually got a little too hot, so I turned off the heat. I moved the pan around. The whole frying time took about 8 minutes. And I kept on flipping it every couple minutes. Give it a nice little baste. Yeah, that's going to be what you're looking for. A really nice crust. I temp the chicken just to make sure that it's about 155. And usually this chicken's so thin, by the time it's nice and golden brown, it's cooked all the way through. You don't really have to worry about temping it. But I did, just to show you guys. And it was at 150. It needed a little bit longer. And after a couple more minutes of basting, that's what it looks like. And it was awesome. The best fried chicken. It was ridiculous. Now, last thing we're going to do is just toast up our bun. I recommend Martin's potato bun. Those are the best. They're just so good. If you don't have those, just use a brioche bun. Brioche works really well too. That's what I had today. So you're just going to give it a nice little toast on both sides and a little butter. Get a nice little golden brown color. Get a little complex flavor going on. And now let's plate this baby up. So you're going to add your sauce to both sides of the bun. You can add as much or as little as you'd like, but it needs quite a bit. Now let's layer the pickles in there. I'm just doing pickles on one side. I'm just going to do the pickles on the bottom. And I did pretty thin slices. I don't want huge chunks. Then I'm going to add a nice piece of lettuce. And I'm going to add the chicken right on top of the lettuce. And that is what's up. That is a delicious spicy chicken sandwich. Good for all occasions. Great for sporting events, for Super Bowl, for a lazy Sunday. You name it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching.